नमस्कार। एक बार मैं आप सभी का स्वागत करता हूं। आज का जो सेशन है ब्रॉडबैंड फैकल्टी की तरफ से सेशन लिया जाएगा। तो थोड़ी देर वेट करिए, थोड़ी देर में अभी आ रहे हैं ब्रॉडबैंड वाले जो भी सर होंगे। नरेश सर होंगे, आलोक सर होंगे या आनंद सर, ठीक है, अभी मुझे भी एग्जैक्ट आइडिया नहीं है। तो ये प्लीज़ ऑल आर ज्वाइन, और जो अभी लोग रह गए उनको भी बोलिए प्लीज़ ज्वाइन करें। वेलकम बैक। आप सभी का मैं स्वागत करता हूं। जब तक आपके फैकल्टी कहीं ट्रैफिक में फंसे हुए हैं, अभी तक पहुंचे नहीं है, तब तक मैं आप लोगों से पूछताछ कर सकता हूँ। मीत, कैन यू अनम्यूट प्लीज।
गुड मॉर्निंग सर।
गुड मॉर्निंग, गुड मॉर्निंग, गुड मॉर्निंग। बीलैन समझ में आया, यस या नो? पहले आप मुझे बताइए।
यस सर, यस सर।
तो बीलैन से हमें क्या एडवांटेज मिलता है, समराइज कर पाएंगे? उससे केवल हमें क्या फ़ायदा होता है?
यस सर, फॉर एग्जांपल हमें लोकल कोई एयर नेटवर्क है,
हम्म,
उसे हमें और डायरेक्टली हम नहीं कर पाते हैं, तो विलेन की मदद से हम उस वो भी करते हैं सर।
किसी कैंपस के अंदर बहुत सारे यूजर्स हो सकते हैं, लेकिन सभी यूजर को ग्लोबल आईपी यानी जो मेन आईपी होता है वो नहीं दिया जा सकता। तो उन सभी को इंटरनेट करने के लिए किस तरह से अरेंजमेंट किया जाता है? लोकली हम अपने कैंपस के अंदर या पर्टिकुलर एरिया के अंदर हम लोग एक कोई भी प्राइवेट आईपी या कोई भी आईपी जो कि ग्लोबली खरीदने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, हम सब मिलकर उसको एक सिस्टम बनाते हैं। लोकल में हम सारे सिस्टम को आईपी प्रोवाइड कर देते हैं। जिस आईपी के लिए मुझे खरीदने या पैसे खर्च करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, दैट इज़ द प्राइवेट आईपी कह सकते हो। और अगर क्लास ABCD की बात करोगे तो सभी क्लास में एक आईपी पूल ऐसा बनाया गया है जो कि रिजर्व होता है, जो किसी को भी मतलब ग्लोबली बांटा नहीं जाता, उसे प्राइवेट आईपी कहते हैं। आप अगर पढ़ेंगे थोड़ा और आपको समझ में आएगा। तो उनमें से भी ज़्यादातर लोग हम इस्तेमाल करते हैं। और उसके बाद अपने लोकल कैंपस से बाहर की दुनिया में एक अगर बात करनी हो तो फिर एक मेन आईपी ग्लोबल आईपी होता है, उसकी मदद से फिर हम लोग कम्युनिकेट करते हैं। बीलाइन का एक एडवांटेज तो यह है कि बहुत सारे आईपी यानी बहुत सारे यूजर को हम लोग एक साथ कम्युनिकेट करा सकते हैं। नंबर 2 एडवांटेज ये होता है कि अगर कैंपस के अंदर ही हम अलग अलग सेक्शन को भी अगर मॉनिटर करना चाहें, जैसे आपका यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ कश्मीर की अगर बात करूँ तो यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ कश्मीर के अंदर कुछ लोग हो सकते हैं इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स डिपार्टमेंट के हों, कुछ कंप्यूटर्स के हों, HR के हों या मैनेजमेंट के हों, अलग अलग डिपार्टमेंट्स के लोग हो सकते हैं। तो उन पे भी कैसे मॉनिटरिंग किया जाए कि पर्टिकुलर आईपी एड्रेस देख के ही हमें समझ में आ जाए कि ये जो यूजर है वो इलेक्ट्रॉनिक से रिलेटेड है, कंप्यूटर से रिलेटेड है या किसी और सेक्शन से रिलेटेड है। दो एडवांटेज हो गया। तीसरा एडवांटेज ये होता है कि किसी पर्टिकुलर ग्रुप के ऊपर अगर जैसे एग्जाम का टाइम हुआ या कोई मॉनिटरिंग का टाइम हुआ या ज़रूरत हो तो इस ग्रुप को हम बाहर की दुनिया से कट कर सकें, इनको स्पेशली एक रिजिड एरिया में मतलब कुछ समय के लिए जहाँ तक ज़रूरत हो वहाँ तक हम उसको बाउंड भी बना सकते हैं। तो ये तीन मेन इम्पोर्टेंट उसका रोल होता है, जो अपने आप में बहुत ही ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट होता है। ठीक है ना? तो ये बी लाइन का एडवांटेज हो गया। अब आपका जो सेशन जो रह रहा है वो हमारे पास में जो सेशन है जो मेरी तरफ से डिलीवरी होनी रह गई है, एक तो ट्रैफिक इंजीनियरिंग की रह गई है, दूसरा मल्टीपल DSCP बी लाइन के अंदर जो भी अलग अलग हम लोकल में जो आईपी बांट रहे हैं उन सभी को अलग सिस्टम को। अभी हमने जो आईपी बांटा वो मैनुअली बांटा था, जैसे कि हम लोग अपने लास्ट क्रिटिकल सेशन में देखा था कि अकाउंट वाले को मैंने 10 वाली जो सीरीज बनाई थी। एक काम करते हैं, मैं स्क्रीन पे एक बार आपको शेयर करके दिखा भी देता हूँ। यही है आपके सामने। तो इस पे अगर हम बात करें तो इस पे हमने जो लास्ट सेशन में जो डिस्कस किया था, तो जैसे हमारा ये अकाउंट का सेक्शन है तो इसके अंदर जो हमने आईपी प्लान किया था उसके अकॉर्डिंगली हमने इसको आईपी मैनुअली सारे सिस्टम में हमने मैनुअली डाला था। जो हमने आपका ये बीलन सेल्स के लिए बनाया था इसके अंदर जो 20 का जो सीरीज हमने डिफाइन किया था मैनुअली आईपी हमने डाला था, राइट? ठीक है। तो आपका एक सेशन के अंदर मैं एक करवाने वाला हूँ कि ये जो आपका जो सिस्टम है इसके अंदर, क्योंकि रियलिटी ये है कि कोई भी यूजर मैनुअली आईपी बहुत ही रेयर डालता है, अदरवाइज बाय डिफॉल्ट यूजर जो अपने आईपी यूज करता है वो ऑटोमेटिक आईपी यूज करता है, थ्रू द DSCP के थ्रू यूज करता है, राइट? ठीक है ना? ठीक है। तो फिर ये एक क्वेश्चन हम बोलेंगे तो हमारे पास ये दो तीन सेशन है जो मुझे जैसे ही अगर कोई दूसरी फैकल्टी मेंबर नहीं लेती है तो फिर मैं इस क्लास को अगर आज भी नहीं ले पाती तो मैं ही करूँगा। और बाकी आपका कल और परसों का जो भी सेशन होगा, ठीक है ना, उस सेशन में हम इसको देख पाएंगे। 10 1 मिनट।
फॉर एग्जांपल आपने कल बोला सर कि हम एक ग्लोबल आईपी अगर हमें उसको परचेज करना पड़ेगा, फॉर एग्जांपल हमने वहां पे रखा 117.239.12.195।
हम्म,
यस सर। तो उसके बाद सर हमने लोकली जो आईपीज हमने डिस्ट्रीब्यूट की वो हमने खुद से की, जैसे कि
आपने
आपने
खुद
सर
किया
बोला कि
वैसे ठीक है।
10.0.0.0। यस सर।
ठीक
मैं
है।
ये सर ये बोलता हूँ कि अगर फॉर एग्जांपल हमने आईपी कोई परचेज कर लिया तो उसका एक रेंज होगा डेफिनेटली, तो उसी रेंज में हम क्यों ना लोकली भी आईपी डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करें, वरना क्या फायदा है कि हमें कि वो हम
एक्चुअली
ग्लोबल एक आईपी खरीद सके।
ग्लोबल
दैट इज।
आईपी लिमिटेड होती हैं। सबसे बड़ी बात यह है, जैसे आपको अगर ग्लोबल आईपी के बारे में बात करेंगे, दीज आर लिमिटेशंस होती हैं इनकी। जितने सारे ग्लोबल आईपी पॉसिबल नहीं है कि सभी एक एक सिस्टम को दिया जा सके। ठीक है। तो उसकी लिमिटेशन को देखते हुए, कमी को देखते हुए, फिर हम लोग लोकल में प्राइवेट आईपी, हर एक क्लास के अंदर एक प्राइवेट आईपी का पूल बना दिया गया, जो कहीं भी वो मतलब बेचा नहीं जाता या उसे कहीं भी लाइसेंस वर्जन की तरफ से इस्तेमाल नहीं कराया जाता। तो उनमें से कोई भी पर्सन अपने लोकल लेवल पर इस्तेमाल कर सकता है। आपका सवाल ये है कि क्यों ना आपके पास इतने पैसे हो जाएं, इतने आईपी अवेलेबल हो। तो ये तभी संभव है ना जब इतने आईपी पॉसिबल हो और इतने पैसे हों। तो क्या ऐसा लगता है कि
सर मैं
इतने?
ये कह रहा हूँ, मैं ये कह रहा हूँ सर कि अगर फॉर एग्जांपल हमने कोई ग्लोबल आईपी हमने परचेज कर लिया,
ठीक है।
लाइक लास्ट टाइम हमने किया ये 117 जो भी रखा वहां पे सर, उसका एक डेफिनेटली एक रेंज होगा सर, जिस रेंज में हम आईपी को दे सकते हैं सर।
ठीक है, तो उसे मान लो
तो
कितने
अगर फॉर
आईपी हो
एग्जांपल हमारी सर यूटिलिटी उतनी ही है, लोकली हमें
आप
उतनी ही
बांट
आईपी
सकते हैं।
चाहिए, तो
आप
हम
बांट
दे सकते हैं उसको सर।
हाँ, अगर आपके पास लगता है कि मैंने 15 खरीदे और 15 ही यूजर हैं, तो डेफिनेटली आप उनको डायरेक्ट अलग से मैनेज कर लो, कोई इशू नहीं है।
यस सर,
कोई
ठीक है सर।
दिक्कत नहीं है। हाँ, लेकिन ये आप अगर सोचोगे 500 1000 या उतना, तो ये थोड़ा सा मुश्किल है। जस्ट 1 मिनट। जी सर। नहीं, क्या ज्वाइन कर लिया उन्होंने? अच्छा, तो जैसे ज्वाइन कर ले मैसेज कर दें इसमें। ठीक है ना, रुको मैं देखता हूँ। अच्छा ठीक है, ज्वाइन कर रहे हैं, कोई नहीं, फिर बच्चों को मैसेज कर देता हूँ। जैसे ज्वाइन कर लें शुरू कर लें, कोई दिक्कत नहीं। मैं अभी क्वेश्चन आंसरिंग बच्चे कर रहे हैं, मोनी का जवाब दे रहे हैं। ठीक है। ठीक है। ठीक है। आलोक सर लेंगे ना? ठीक है। ठीक है, ओके। डियर स्टूडेंट, आलोक सर क्लास अभी लेंगे, ठीक है ना? तो होपफुली वो भी जैसे ज्वाइन कर लेते हैं। आई थिंक वेलकम वेलकम सर, आपका स्वागत है। हम लोग इंतजार कर रहे थे। तो ये सेशन मैं आपको हैंड ओवर करता हूँ और आपको मैं होस्ट बना देते हैं।
Hello, am I audible?
यस सर, यू आर ऑडिबल, और आपको मैंने होस्ट
Thank you.
बना
Thank
दिया।
you for welcoming us. First of all, I would like to welcome all the participants on the behalf of LTTC for this particular session. Exactly, I was there for quite some long time, but my system got upgraded. So it took around 10 to 20 minutes just to settle it down. We convey our sincere apologies for that. So is it the maximum number of the participants we are expecting? How many participants we are expecting?
हाँ सर, एक टोटल 23 हैं, तो 20। हाँ, कितने अभी तक हैं?
I guess 16
हाँ,
are there.
यस सर। नॉर्मली सर, और 3 4 नहीं हो पाते, इनके एरिया में थोड़ा नेट का इशू है, तो नॉर्मली 19 से 20 के बीच रहते हैं ये लोग। मेर आप इंश्योर कर लीजिए कितने लोग रह गए हैं, उनको भी मैसेज कर दीजिए प्लीज।
Yes, sir. Sure. Maybe when I just joined that particular session, I guess some of the question answer session was going on. So in totality, we are having the class A as well as the class B, that is basically designated, particularly designated as a private IP pool. But we can use it as a general IP pool or the global IP pool, though we don't have a concept of the global IP pool. We do have a concept of public IP pool as well as the private IP pool. Okay, so if you are very much interested into the IP pool, then definitely we may have a separate session. Maybe your concern in charge may have a separate session for it. And if you are very much interested into dig down deep into it. We do have the IPv4, IPv6, and nobody usually tells you, but the IPv5 do exist, and that is basically for some special purpose, but that do exist, and that is at the disposal of a general public too. If you want to use the IPv5, IP4, you can use it, but you have to do a number of cumbersome act just to use it. Okay, but that is not my actually the topic of for today. We are at a very crucial juncture that we don't have much time left. Yep, thank you for being in this particular session. And on the behalf of LTTC, I would like to welcome you all. So today we are going to talk about one of the technologies that is prevalently been used throughout the world, and why it is being throughout the world. We are going to get the answer of it. Then I am guessing that most of you are in your pre-final year or the final year. I don't know what would be your educational background. So either I am suspecting that either you are in your 6th semester or you are approaching the 7th one. Am I right?
Yes, sir, we are in the last semester. Actually, there are 4 semesters in our course.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Only 4th semester.
Yes, sir. Actually, it is a MSc course, not BTech.
Okay. No issue. So can you kindly brief me which kind of the subjects you have covered so far? Means exactly just to understand this particular technology, I am going to get the example from your textbooks only, so that you would be in a better position to relate those concepts. Because what is the positive with our education system, that whenever we are in a college, nobody tells us, okay, we are mugging up the few subjects, we are understanding few of the concepts. If we don't understand, we usually mug up the concepts, we usually write it down in our university exams and usually get passed. But eventually, until unless we are not into the field, we don't know where exactly whatsoever the 30-40 subjects which we have done so far in our BSc MSc course, where exactly these concepts are being used. So that is the main problem with our education system. Nobody usually tells us this. So which kind of the subjects you have already gone through in your during your MSc subject during your MSc course? Sorry.
Yes, sir. It was actually first we started with the circuit analysis,
Okay.
antenna, and the communication, analog
Communication means the analog and the digital both, I guess.
Yes, sir. And analog and digital, both these communications, and we
Okay,
also
signal
have
systems
learned.
you have to go through.
Yes, sir. Yes, so signal systems, and we have also learned about microprocessors,
Okay, no issue.
microcontrollers, and
And what about the digital electronics?
yes, sir. Digital electronics we have also.
Okay. Then we are good to go. No issue. If you do know, means if you have heard few of the concepts, then definitely we are going to make you understand. Likewise, in the digital electronics, you would have gone through the two main verticals. One is the combinational circuits, other one is the sequential circuits, isn't it? So the sequential circuits, whenever we have gone through the sequential circuits, it usually arises out of your basic memory block, and that is your flip-flops. We would have heard about the T flip-flop, J flip-flop, JK flip-flop, D flip-flops, isn't it? And whenever anybody is going to teach you the flip-flops, they usually tells you it is the main basic building block. Main basic memory block, and we by repeatedly use these particular blocks, we can use or we can enhance our memory capabilities. Similarly, then few of the applications of these flip-flops in terms of the your counters, the famous one is the modulo 2 counter as well as the modulo 10 counter. Have you heard about these concepts?
Yes, sir. Most of
Okay.
those.
Okay, most of those, no issue. And in the combinational circuits, you would have heard about the Boolean algebra. After Boolean algebra, the twos complement, ones complement, then we do have the subtractor, adder, we do have the marks, demarks, isn't it? Encoders, decoders.
Yes, sir.
So most of the time you would have heard about these particular subjects, but nobody usually tells us where exactly these concepts are going to be used. So ultimately, all these things are going to be covered, and you would find their respective place using the slides. Okay, so it would be just like it would be a refresher course for your whatsoever you have gone through during your MSc course, as well as how we have implemented it in the field units or in the technology which is basically being used throughout the world, especially if whether you are going to visit the European Union, you are going to visit the Canada, USA, you would find one of its version or one of its flavor is being used over there. Whereas if you are going to visit the African continent, if you are visit the India, if you are visit the Southeast Asia, East Asia, most probably 90% of the broadband connections are running on this particular technology, means one of the flavor of it. Okay, so it would be very exciting journey if you are going to be if you are going to be stick with us, and then definitely we are going to make you understand each and every concept about this particular technology. Okay, so if no one else is going to be there in the meeting, then are we good to go?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So before getting into this particular technology, let's discuss about the agenda. For the today's agenda, we are going to have the introduction, why we are actually discussing this particular technology, why we are not discussing any other technology, why specifically only this particular kind of the technology we are discussing. So first of all, we are trying to get this particular answer, and then after understanding what exactly we are going to discuss, what the different flavors of it are available at our disposal, means how we can understand that how much throughput by means of this particular technology or by means of a particular version we are going to get, means it can support from the 2 Mbps to 100 Mbps. So ultimately how we are going to calculate that which particular flavor is going to get us the 2 Mbps and which particular flavor is going to get us the 100 Mbps, what are the different concepts behind it. Okay, then we are going to discuss about its competition. Means it does have some competitors into the market, but those competitors are far behind this particular technology. Means one of the major competitor is the cable broadband as well as the Ethernet broadband, and the newcomer is coming up into the market, that is the broadband over the power line. And we know exactly the why we are not going to use the power lines, because the power lines are basically the existing resources that is being connected to each and every household, isn't it? Most probably whether you are in any part of the Kashmir, maybe Srinagar, Leh, Ladakh, anywhere, then definitely either you are going to subscribe the electricity connection, or the or an electricity connection would be provided by the government to you, or on some maybe under some schemes or maybe such things. But yeah, we do have an intention to provide the electricity connection or to provide a power connection to each and every household. That is the basically initiative from the government of India, isn't it? So if everybody do have, means every household do have one of the access to the power connection, then definitely if we are going to use this particular technology, we do have readily available infrastructure which would let us connect with each and every household. Then why we are not using it? Because अगर मैं अभी किसी भी कंपनी से अपने वायर्स ले डाउन करता है, if I am going to lay down the wire from my office to my customer premises, then definitely I need to bear the cost of those wires, isn't it? I need to bear the cost of my system, maybe erected somewhere nearby to the customer or maybe in my office. But ultimately there would be some cost involved into it, by involved in connecting my customer to my system. Whereas whenever we are going to use the broadband of the power lines is already been connected to the customer's house. I need to do only a certain type of the configuration, and then the customer would be good to go to use the internet service or to the use any kind of the database services which customers has subscribed. So isn't it a viable solution? Then why we are not using it? We are going to find out the solution. But before finding out all these particular things, let's start. Whenever any subject you are going to go through, any technology you are going to go through, any concept you are going to go through, means ultimately you are in your pre final year, the final year, and definitely in the next couple of years you are going to be into the market. Maybe few of you are going to go for a job, few of you are going to go for the higher studies, then the rest of you are going to go for maybe your own business, maybe your own startup, because we do have one of the way swept along the Indian continent, that is for your startups, isn't it? In the world, from the last year, we were having the maximum startups being registered in India. Okay, and the second one is the European Union, where exactly the second most number of the startups being registered. So you do have the three options after your graduation. So which one you would like to have? Guys, are we connected?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir.
So if you chooses not to go for a job, if you chooses not to go for the higher studies, you are going to go start something of your own, something from your idea, which arises out of your idea. And what is the most crucial part? Just to have a viable idea. As well as once you are going to work on your idea, then you are going to definitely you are going to come up with a product. Maybe that would be in terms of a hardware product, that would be in terms of a technological product, but definitely you are going to introduce some of the product to the market. Then how the market would react to it? We do have the two options over there. Once we are going to have the product, we are going to introduce the product into the market, and then we are going to get the feedbacks. But before producing our product into the market, how we can get a lump sum idea how our market or our prospective customers are going to take up this particular technology or this particular product. Basically we do have the 4 checks, or basically we do have one of the crucible in which we are going to fit our product, and then our product then we are going to get the results whether our product would be successful or whether it is doomed to be die. Okay. Likewise, first of all, whatsoever you are going to do, whatsoever the product or the technology you are going to design, whatsoever the product or the technology you are going to get into the market, it should be super user friendly. And why it should be super user friendly, especially in the context of India? Exactly as per the government of India statistics, we do have the, as per the government of India statistics based on 2011 census, we do have an literacy rate about 74%, though the unofficial data being come up from the 2021, and that is basically around 75%. So still, and what would be the yardstick for an illiterate person in India?
25%.
No. What would be the yardstick? Means how we are going to ensure, how we are going to say, okay, this particular person is the literate person, this particular person is the illiterate person. Means there has to be certain yardstick, isn't it? There has to be certain criteria to get fulfilled. What would be that criteria as per government of India?
Sir, he should read and he should write something. If he is able to read or write, then he's called as a literate person as per the law.
Yep. For moreover, you are correct. But exactly what kind of the read or write one should know. Exactly a person, he or she, regardless of the gender, if a person knows how to identify the letters. I am not concerning about the words. I am concerning about the letters. If one would be able to identify the letters. Second, if one would be able to write down his or her name. If a person would be able to do these 2 tasks without any external help, that time that particular person is supposed to be a literate person. That's what the criteria we do have for the literate person. So in a country like India, where exactly we are having only the 75% unofficial literate data, still we do have 25% of our population which is not able to identify even the letters. Even they wouldn't be they would be able to write down their name or whatsoever we would be expecting. So how we can include those persons? Exactly, if you are going to produce anything, if you are going to launch anything, means you are launching or you are producing those particular product or the technology or the services for the prospective customers. We do have a population, and from that particular population, the 25% of the population is not in a condition to communicate with you. So you are losing 25% of your prospective customers, isn't it? So how to get those 25% population with you as a customer to produce a product or to produce a technology or to produce a services which is very easy as well as which is very super user friendly. Why super user friendly? Even a literate person, even a illiterate person would be able to use it without any external help. Likewise, for an example, we do have the Paytm. Before this episode of this notebandi in the 2017, I guess, yeah, October 2017. Before it, we don't have much more number of the third party transaction application in the Indian market. We were having only the two kind of the competitors are there. The Paytm was the permanent in one, but the condition of the Paytm wasn't very good at that particular time. But after that particular notebandi, what would happen? Everybody is behind the Paytm. Everyone is using the Paytm, whether it would be your five-star hotels, whether it would be your street hawkers. Everybody was on the Paytm, isn't it? And why the Paytm become so successful? First of all, the condition, it was super user friendly. And why it was super user friendly? If you want to make a transaction, you have to put only the 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. That would be the digit, that would be the phone number. And once you have entered the phone number, then you have to click only a single blue colored button. That's why if you would be able to understand, if you would be able to make a person understand, okay sir, you have to enter the amount over there, and then after entering the number as well as the amount, you have to press only this blue colored button. That's it, and your transaction would be taken care. Whereas if we are going to get an example from the conventional banking, you have to walk into the bank branch, you have to fill a particular form, you have to wait till you are asked to come to your respective window, and after coming to your respective window, they are going to inquire you, sir, which kind of the services you are looking for. Then you are hand over your slip to them, and then they are going to do some kind of the work on their systems or the system which they are working on, and then they are going to get you an acknowledgement. That's it. So ultimately, rather than putting 1 hour, 1 hour or the 2 hours to get into the banking system, you are making the transaction on your own will, at your own behest, without wasting your time. And even in the case whether you do have a bank account or whether you don't have a bank account, isn't it? The second and the foremost thing, that whatsoever the technology or the solution you are going to launch, that particular technology or solution should give an answer to certain social problems. Why social problems? Because the problems may be pertaining to me only. That would be my personal problem. The person may be pertaining to a particular group of the person. That would be your very microscopic problem. And a problem may be related to the complete nation, and that would be your social problem, or that would be your national problem. So which kind of the problem we are looking for? Exactly. If your product is the answer to certain problem, then whosoever is facing those particular problem would be your prospective customers, isn't it? If that particular problem basically belongs to a very huge chunk of the population, that time you are expected to get the complete huge chunk of the population as your prospective customers. If those particular problems are related only to the 20s or the 1,000 of the persons, then only you are expected to get only these number of the persons as your prospective customers, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So that's why it has to be certain solution, because ultimately if the solutions are there, if the problems are there, the solutions are expected to be there. If the solutions are there, that whosoever is aggrieved by such kind of the problems would be interested in your solutions. For an example, we do have one of the company named Bandicoot. Have you heard about it?
No, sir.
That is one of the startup in Kerala, and that has been started by few of the engineering graduates as well as their dropout students. What they are doing, they are putting the robotics for a particular specific goal to unclog your manholes, to unclog your sewage system. Okay, that particular seaways, as we do have a mixed kind of the livelihood in India. We do have the rural India, we do have the urban India. In the urban India, as well as now in the rural India, we do have a sewage system. And if that particular sewage system get choked, what we usually do? We usually complain to the local authorities, and what the local authorities usually do, they have hired few of the persons only for this particular task, and they usually instruct those persons, kindly go there and unclog the sewage. And sometimes they usually do it by some manual intervention, and most of the time they need to get into the our sewage system to get into the manholes, and then by means of the human intervention they need to unclog our sewage. But what usually happens at that particular time? Guys, have you understood this problem? Guys, are we there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So whenever anybody is going into our sewage system, what usually happens? In our sewage system, we do have the decomposed material, and the decomposed material usually exhibits or usually produces methane, and methane is quite an hazardous gas to the human beings, isn't it? So most of the time we usually get an information, okay, that particular person who just get into our manholes get unconscious or just died because of some of the inhalation of some unfriendly gases or inhalation of some toxic gases. So what we usually do, we usually loses our much needed human resources. We usually loses our human capital. And just to identify, we not only identified this particular problem, but we have a solution for it. We can have a specific robots which can get deep into our sewage system, which can unclog our sewage system without being exposed to any harmed effect of these poisonous gases. Means if the methane, if our robot is working in a methane condition, then definitely nothing is going to be happen to our robots. If some other problems are there, then nothing is going to happen with our with these robots. And that particular thing or that particular company is quite super user friendly. Means even a particular person, even a single literate or the illiterate person would be able to maneuver, not only would be able to maneuver, but also able to operate those robots, maybe residing somewhere outside of these manholes, or maybe residing somewhere outside of our sewage systems. Maybe now they are planning to have one of their what we can say control room type of the thing, so that they would be able not only to monitor but also to operate these complete set of the robots to unclog or to take care of the complete sewage system of a particular city. And that particular company is progressing leaps and bounds on daily basis, because that particular sewage system is not only related to the higher class but also related to the middle group, as well as to the lower group, to the slum areas too. Means it is one of the problem which has been persisting to each and every life, wheresoever that particular life do exist, be it rural India, be it urban India. So ultimately, whatsoever you are thinking, whatsoever you are producing, whatsoever the product you are designing, it should give certain solution. And if that particular the problem matrix is quite large, you are going to get those much prospective customers. If your prospective customer base is quite low, then ultimately, for how long you may survive in the market. So you have to not only you have to identify the problem, but you should get an amicable solution of those problems. Okay. The third one, it should be ubiquitous. Whatsoever you are going to design, whatsoever you are going to produce, it should be well in shape at the Lakshadweep. It should be well in shape at the Himalayas. It should be well in shape for the Northeast. It should be well in shape for the Central India. Means if you are producing a radar, maybe that particular radar, if that particular radar is not working, maybe at the Andaman Nicobar, then definitely what we are losing the security of all our islands, isn't it? If that particular radar is not working in the third desert, then definitely when our temperature, when the mercury rises, then definitely our system is bound to fail. So we can't induct those particular radars or those particular technology where exactly those unfavorable conditions do exist. So whatsoever the product or whatsoever the technology we are talking about, it should be working in all the possible condition. It shouldn't be topographically limited. ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि सर ये यहाँ पे काम करेगा और आप यहाँ जाओगे तो यहाँ पे काम नहीं करेगा. It shouldn't be like this. Likewise, we do have one of an example. Likewise, have you heard about the Uber? Guys?
Yes, sir.
So what exactly the Uber do?
They provide the transport services.
Correct. So that particular transport, they are providing the transport service in Srinagar. They are providing the transport service in Jammu, I guess. If I'm not wrong, I haven't visited the Srinagar yet, though I am been into the Jammu, but I haven't been visited Srinagar. So I don't know whether the Uber is operating over there or not. But if you are using the same credentials in India, whether you are using the Uber, whether you are using the Ola, you can use the same credentials if you be in the USA, if you be in the Canada, if you be in the UK, if you be in the European Union. Okay, means the same thing, the same app you can use anywhere in the world. It is not topographically limited only for the India, that it is going to be work only in India. Similarly, if you have heard about one of the technology called the Indra Radar, that particular Indra Radar is very much applicable at the highlands of your Lahore Spiti, at the highlands of the Srinagar, at the Thar Desert, and even at the Andaman Nicobar, the Lakshadweep. Means regardless of the atmospheric condition, regardless of the topographical condition, if you are designing something, you have to design your product around the concept that it should be applicable for all the territories. Okay. Similarly, we are having the Paytm. The Paytm is very much applicable at the Nepal too, as well as at the Bhutan too. They are having their transactions on the Paytm. And the last but not the least, whatsoever you are designing, whatsoever you are doing, whatsoever the product which usually gives the solution to a number of the problems, but if it is not cost effective, if it is not affordable, whether then we are bound to lose our prospective customers. Okay, from the tomorrow, if the Paytm asks you, sir, I'm going to charge you rupees 1,000 per day, oh sorry, rupees 1,000 per year, would you like to subscribe the Paytm services? Guys?
Yes, sir.
If I don't know how many of you are with the Paytm or how many of you are basically using the third-party transaction app, but if all the apps are saying to their respective customers, sir, from the tomorrow onwards, we are going to charge you rupees 1,000 per year for our subscription, then how many customers would be able to continue with those third-party applications? Maybe if you are using the Paytm app.
Very few, sir. Very, sir, not
Sorry?
much. Sir, very few users can subscribe.
Very few users, means most of them would be walk out from their existing subscription and would be able or would be search for a free one, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
And why is it so?
Because of the cost, sir.
Because of the cost. So in India, as per the latest data from the Niti Aayog, it says that from the last 7 years, that particular the population under poverty line been increased to 35%. And what are the yardstick for the population under this BPL category or the below poverty line? We do have the two kind of the poverty yardsticks in India. One of the yardstick for the urban poor, the other one is for the rural poor. So a person who is not able to make rupees 28 in rural India, a person who is not able to make rupees 34 in urban India would be considered as a person below poverty line. So a person who is not able to get even a rupees 34 per day, means about rupees 1,000 per month, how those particular users would be able to pay you in respect of your product, whether that particular product would be useful to them or not. So whatsoever the product we are having, whatsoever the technology we are developing, whatsoever the things we are going to do, that should be provide a cost effective and as well as the affordable solution to our prospective customers. Only then we would be able to sell it to a very bigger population, isn't it? Likewise the Paytm, what the Paytm is doing, are they charging anything? No, I don't know whether they are charging anything or not, but till now I haven't faced any kind of the problem if I'm using it for the free. And that is not what the most of our prospective users are facing. And then what exactly they are doing, they are making their customer base, and once the customer base is there, once they have acquired about 80% or the 90% of the population are using only a single product, maybe they would start with a 1 rupees, 2 rupees, 10 rupees subscription, and then by putting only these very nominal amount of the money, they would be able to get their fortunes, isn't it? So these are the 4 checks we need to check before planning anything. If we are planning anything, we need to check our plan by means of these 4 scribbles, and after getting the output from that particular scribbles, we should continue with our plans. And you already have gone through this particular typical telecom network architecture, isn't it? So in a particular ISP or the TSP or the TSSP, they are the 3 kind of the service providers we are having. The service providers which is only providing you the internet, that usually comes under the category of an ISP. A particular company which is providing you a bouquet of the telecommunication services, only the services, that usually comes under the category of the TSP, the telecommunication service provider. And a company which is also providing you the services as well as a customized solutions, okay, that usually comes under the category of the TSSP. The BSNL earlier we were the TSP, but now we are under the category of the TSSP. Okay, that is the telecommunication service and solution provider. So we are providing the certain solutions to the certain companies in our belt. Okay, so whenever we are having any ISP, any TSP or any TSSP, all these particular companies in our operation side is basically working under 3 main verticals. One of the main vertical is the access part. The other one vertical is our core network. The third vertical is the interconnects or the transport network. Have you heard about this? Or I guess you have already gone through these particular kind of concepts. Guys,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
guys, be intuitive, only then we would be able to complete it. Else I am going to get a stop, and if nobody is going to save, then definitely we are going to lose. So whenever we are talking about a part where exactly we are going to get a number of the different systems, and all these different systems are basically catering our prospective customers. Likewise over there, one of the customers who would like to subscribe an internet services comes to your office. You just get their KYC and usually hand over their username and the password. One of the subscriber comes to your office to subscribe a mobile connection. One of the customers comes to your office to subscribe the fax services, to subscribe the ISDN services, to subscribe the telephone services. One of the customers comes to your office to subscribe the VPN services or to subscribe some of the ILL services or some other services. Likewise, the EPBX, PBX services are there. Means plenty of the plethora of the services are there. So ultimately, all these services are quite different to each other. So ultimately, all these services would be catered by the different set of your equipments. And as we are having the different set of the equipments, the maximum heterogeneity of the equipments we usually find into access network. And if we are finding the maximum heterogeneity in our access part, the maximum jobs usually offered in the access network only. But the kind of the job which you people are expected to get into the access network is basically demands maybe the semi-skilled or the unskilled person. If you have witnessed that a particular person who usually comes to your home, just a second, hello, हाँ जी वो रह गया. मैं ले आऊंगा अपने आप, अभी क्लास में हूँ मैं, फिर बाद में बात करता हूँ। ठीक। Where were we?
Sir, can we stop here?
क्या हुआ?
Sir, because हमें यूनिवर्सिटी कैंपस जाना है आज, तो इसलिए।
अरे यार, फिर ये कब पूरा होगा दोस्त? मेरे को शायद 1 बजे तक का टाइम दिया गया था कि 1 बजे तक आप कर सकते हैं।
सर, बिकॉज हमारा दूसरा सेशन अभी 4 बजे है।
किस चीज का सेशन है 4 बजे दोस्त?
इसी का सर, ट्रेनिंग का ही दूसरा क्लास है अभी 4 बजे।
अच्छा,
सर अगर हम यही क्लास सर फिर 4 बजे लेंगे सर यहाँ से।
यहाँ से कर लीजिए, मेरे को कोई दिक्कत नहीं है। Exactly provided your class in charge don't have any kind of the problems, I don't have any kind of the problem, because exactly I was being told that the 11 to 1 there would be a session. Okay, though I was late by 20 minutes and I have already been
We have
after
some
you.
thesis related issues with the department today, so that's why sir we are really sorry.
So kindly put a message with your class in charge, let him come into the meeting and let us discuss over there only within 5 minutes, then it would be great, isn't it? Who is your class in charge? Are you there, Krishna Kumar ji? Hello? Hello?
Yes sir.
So is your class in charge is there? I guess he is on mute condition. So decide now. We are having 19 means we are having 16 participants over there. Kindly decide by yourself right now so that I would be able to be present by 4.
Yes sir, we are ready to give the class at 4 sir.
That is for the Mir. Akib, what about you? Ashik, Hussain, Akbir, Bashir, Faisal, Ahmad.
Yes sir.
So kindly put a message to your class in charge regarding this particular thing, and then we are going to start from here. Okay.
Okay sir, sure sir, thank you sir.
That is about your 4 p.m. I guess.
Yes, sir.
Yes
Then
sir.
4 to 6 we would be there. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So should we continue or should we end this meeting?
Okay, sir. End this meeting, sir.
ओके, तो आप लोग जाइए, फिर हम लोग देखते हैं, हम लोग बात करते हैं आपस में।
Okay, sir.
थैंक यू।
Thank you, sir.